Deathworlders heard it loud and clear. The distress beacon cut through subspace like a scream through silence. Aliana's neural interface translated the alien frequencies into comprehensible data, flooding her consciousness with coordinates, biological signatures, and one word repeated in 17 different galactic languages: help. "Commander, we're receiving it too," James reported from the helm of the Perseverance, his fingers dancing across holographic displays. "Source is 37 light-years out. Calthrine system. That's deep in the void margin." Aliana stood from her command chair, her augmented spine straightening with a series of soft clicks. The Bridge of Humanity's flagship fell silent as crew members awaited her decision. Through the viewport, the assembled human defense fleet hung in formation, 200 vessels born from a species the galaxy had designated as Deathworlders. "Analysis," she commanded. The ship's AI, Oracle, materialized beside her as a shimmering projection. The signal originates from a Verithan colony transport, approximately 12,000 souls aboard. They report catastrophic engine failure and life support degradation. Current trajectory will carry them into the Calthrine star within 48 hours. "Verithan," James muttered, pulling up their file. "Ambient temperature preference, 68 degrees Celsius. Atmospheric composition, 70% methane. Gravity tolerance, 0.6 Earth standard." He looked up at Aliana. "Commander, they're the ones who called us abominations at the Galactic Council last cycle, said we had no business leaving our hellish prison world." Aliana remembered. She'd been there when Ambassador Varix had gestured at humanity's delegation with 3 of his heat-sensitive appendages, declaring Earth a nightmare planet of death, where water fell from the sky in frozen crystals, where the atmosphere contained poisonous oxygen, and where the gravity would crush any civilized species. "I'm aware, Lieutenant." Aliana tapped her command console. "Oracle, can anyone else reach them in time?" "Negative, Commander. The Verithan Navy is 18 days out at maximum thrust. The Quellian Confederacy has no assets in this sector. The Hive Collective has declared the rescue economically inefficient. We are the only fleet within range." 48 hours, 12,000 lives. Aliana caught her reflection in the darkened viewport. A woman sculpted by 10 generations of genetic optimization and cybernetic enhancement, born on a planet where hurricanes could strip continents bare, where tectonic fury reshaped landscapes overnight, where life itself was a constant battle against entropy. Earth hadn't made humanity strong. It had made them survivors. "Helm, calculate jump coordinates. Engineering, I want every ship in this fleet ready for sustained thrust at 2.5 standard G medical. Prepare for Verithan environmental requirements." She turned to face her crew. "We're going to get them." James's jaw tightened. "Commander, the Verithans." "Our people, Lieutenant, scared people who are about to die." Her voice carried the weight of command, but also something else, something fundamentally human. "Plot the course." "Aye, Commander." The fleet moved as one, reality folding around them as their Alcubierre drives tore holes in spacetime. Aliana used the transit time to review the rescue parameters. The Verithan transport was a massive biological vessel, grown rather than built, its interior temperature hot enough to boil water. Her crew would need full thermal suits. The methane atmosphere would corrode their equipment, and the failing life support meant they had hours, not days. They emerged from FTL 30,000 kilometers from the dying transport. It was beautiful in its alien way, a spiral of organic hull material that pulsed with bioluminescence, though those pulses were growing weaker. "Scanning now," James reported. "Hull breaches on 7 decks, thermal regulation offline, internal temperature dropping rapidly. They're down to 53 Celsius and falling. For them, that's like us hitting -20. Launch rescue pods. Configure them for Verithan atmosphere. James, you're with me on the boarding team." They suited up in the launch bay, 20 humans encased in thermal armor, carrying specialized stretchers and emergency life support units. Aliana checked her helmet seals twice. One breach in that methane atmosphere and her suit's oxygen would become an explosive hazard. The boarding pod latched onto the Verithan transport with a magnetic clamp. Aliana was first through the airlock. The heat hit her like a physical force, even through the suit's cooling systems. The corridor beyond was vast, built for beings who stood 4 meters tall on 6 legs. Emergency lighting cast everything in amber shadows. And there were the Verithans, hundreds of them, huddled together for warmth, their crystalline exoskeletons dulled with cold, their respiratory spiracles gasping in air that was growing thinner by the minute. One of them, an elder by the silver streaking through their carapace, approached. Their translator crackled. You are the Deathworlders, the humans." "We're the rescue team," Aliana corrected gently. "We need to evacuate you. My ships can provide temporary environmental support while we transport you to safety." "Why?" The word carried centuries of confusion. "We have shown you nothing but contempt." James stepped forward, his thermal suit making him look like some ancient deep-sea explorer. "Because that's what people do. They help each other, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard." For the next 37 hours, the human defense fleet performed a miracle of logistics and endurance. They ferried 12,000 Verithans across the void in waves, each ship reconfigured on the fly to support alien biology that would have killed a human in minutes. Engineers worked in rotating shifts, their bodies pushed to the limits of augmented endurance. Medical teams treated hypothermia in beings whose cold was humanity's sweltering. When the last Verithan was aboard and the transport finally succumbed to Calthrine's gravity well, burning up in a brief streak of light, Aliana found herself facing Ambassador Varix on the Perseverance's bridge. They'd created a heated chamber for him, maintained at his species' comfort level. "I do not understand," Varix said, his translator rendering his confusion clearly. "We showed you disrespect. We called your world a death trap, your people monsters, yet you came." Aliana removed her helmet, meeting his crystalline eyes with her own. "Ambassador, you were right. Earth is a death trap. 80% of it is covered in a universal solvent that corrodes most galactic hull materials. Our atmosphere is so reactive it causes spontaneous combustion. Our gravity would cripple most species. We have weather systems that generate more energy than most civilizations' power grids." She smiled then, and it was fierce and proud. "But that death trap made us into something the galaxy needs, people who don't give up. People who run toward danger instead of away from it. People who save others, even when those others hate them for it." "Because that's what survivors do," Varix asked quietly. "No," James interjected from the helm. "Because that's what humans do." 3 weeks later, the Galactic Council convened. Ambassador Varix stood before the assembly, his carapace gleaming with recovered health, and spoke words that would echo through the centuries. "I move that we strike the designation Deathworlder from our records. The humans are not monsters born of a nightmare world. They are guardians forged by it, and the galaxy is safer for their presence." The motion passed unanimously. Aliana watched from Earth, from the world of crushing gravity and corrosive oceans and poisonous air, and smiled. The void had echoed with a cry for help, and humanity, as always, had answered. Because that's what survivors do.